Yeah. Time is now 6:33. We are in session. Notice is hereby given with a special meeting of the City Council of the City of San Diego, Texas, held on Thursday, December 19, 2024, at 6:30 p.m. at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, San Diego, Texas, where a forum of the City Council will be present. All agenda items are subject to action. You can join the meeting at the Zoom link provided in the agenda. The public will be permitted to offer public comments in person, telephonically, or by audio as provided by the agenda, and is permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the city secretary at least 15 minutes in advance of the meeting, if providing comments in person, and at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting by emailing the city secretary, or by calling 210-607-0834, or speaking telephonically or by audio. An audio recording of the meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Texas Public Information Act upon written request. Madam Secretary, may I have a call to order and a quorum call?
Sure. Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado.
Here.
Alderwoman Madero.
Here.
Alderman Tremblay.
Here.
Alderman Fillinger.
Here.
Alderman Rapino.
Here.
City attorney's here, and city secretary, we have a quorum.
All right.
Actually, to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas at one state, under God, one indivisible.
Citizens to be heard, persons wishing to speak may sign up with the city secretary in the time and manner as indicated above. Madam Secretary, do we have anybody signed up to speak?
No, Mayor, we don't.
Okay. Moving right along. Mayor updates and administrator announcements. At this time, I do not have any announcements or updates. Yes. Okay, moving right along. Administration business, executive session to deliberate the appointment, leave, discipline, and dismissal of court clerk Catherine Nelson pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074 personnel matters. At this time, you still wish to have the executive session rate?
Yes, I want to know.
All right, so then we will push past the executive session and go straight to the item 5B. Discuss and action on the employment duty, discipline, or dismissal of court clerk Catherine Yeltsin. All right, so kind of to tee this up, there's been a few incidents lately, most recently.
We won't see first. I think it's just, I thought the same. I don't want to see your slide.
Sure.
Okay. Pardon. Giving the council there. First of all, I want to give you the opportunity to read the formal complaint that prompted this, suspension. On Monday when you suspended them, but there was not one. So the formal complaints filed. You told me on Wednesday that there was one.
I said you can see it. I did tell you.
Specifically, so. Only that is a part of this write-up. Maybe a portion of it, Has anyone else seen the formal writing, or
It's in their packets.
it is? Okay, we're going back as far as December 8th, 9th, 11th, 12th. When this is specific to, what you provided me, which was provided, which was specific to one of those topics. So the facts of those topics are, last Wednesday evening at December 18th at 6:24 PM from my own house, I sent a text to a from my personal phone to a former friend's personal phone. And I have since been suspended for the actions in my personal life. That is specific to, and I didn't get a copy of that either, the write-up.
I give you the right. Oh, I.
No, you said
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And those are the facts. I'm here because of occurrences in my private life.
All right, so then. Kind of to tee this up, I did receive a notice from the Public Works Director that Catherine has been reaching out to her on more occasions. And in previous instances, she has been counseled to avoid contact, to not reach out to her other than within the work environment. She needs help with a city issue or whatnot that is acceptable, but other than that, the Public Works Director has asked that she avoid all contact. At this time, Catherine, as it reads in the statement, that's none of our business. I can understand the personal aspect of it, but the reality is that when it affects the job work environment, it becomes our business.
My personal business is not.
And again, so like I said, when I have employees that come to us that say it's affecting my ability to work, it becomes the city's business. And so that's why we're here today. Excuse me. As you can see from the text message, it does read, "You have an evil soul. I worry they're making a whole for it."
And there was more. to
But,
it than that.
can I ask what was that, didn't make you said?
If you'd like to,
I can elaborate.
you could read the rest of the message as he requested.
Okay, not the one you were. My phone just died. It basically almost verbatim says, "You have an evil soul and I worry there's no hope for it. Rebuke the evil, you have the power to do so." That was the extent of the text. I believe that's noted here. I don't know if it's not, because I just received whatever you're. Yeah. Which again, on the 17th, was it Thursday? No, but she signed it, so I sent the text on the 18th and she's complaining on the 17th, submitting a complaint the day before. it
Text was
occurred.
last week, no?
When was last
This was,
Wednesday evening?
so that was. No, this was the day that bikes were to come into the park, and I believe that was the 10th. Wednesday, December 11th. Was when the text was sent, 6:24.
Which was a week ago, yes. Today's. I think it's the first I've seen it, so when I asked for it, on last Thursday during my annual review, and again on Monday when they suspended me, no document was given to me.
Item to discuss during your annual review.
After the annual review, you attempted to consult me on this issue, and I told you that it's not the city's business what I do in my personal life. I asked if you have a complaint filed, and you said no, and I have a witness to that. On Monday, you still, and this is hearsay because this was mine and your conversation, stated there was no formal write-up or formal complaint. It was more verbal, but I mean, if this is what you want to present, I have no choice.
Charles, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I'm having no issue with the knowledge here. It looks like you have enough file that immediately suspended without a formal complaint. With Amber, we have to deal with formal complaint. I might have an issue because we have the heading for a message. We should be looking at the complete message. They have a statement from Cassandra Dorzel. I don't know who that is.
That's our animal control officer.
That's the new act.
Yes.
Also stated after the issue came up as though she would to ask, did she have an issue? I I'm gonna ask a question. Was there any particular reason that you felt like you needed to send this message?
I don't find it relevant what I do in my private life to have to explain why. I'm waiting. The issue is I'm here because I sent a text during personal hours.
It's certainly not a nice thing to say to someone. At the end, you sort of did give you made a statement and you have the option to correct it, but that is your opinion. It certainly doesn't bear on, it's not a valid statement. It doesn't, because you said it doesn't mean she had an evil soul. But so there must have been some reason that you felt that she did. But that, I think, is what Charles is asking you, what the evidence was that you made that statement. I certainly don't think that, that's your opinion, and you shouldn't be penalized for an opinion, because I think an opinion is a First Amendment right. And I don't think that, I think that we were in error to suspend somebody for an opinion, which is a First Amendment right. Although, if you have been warned about, interactions that cause strife at the workplace, I don't know if this measures up to that. So
There have been multiple attempts to counsel,
I know about those because, we've discussed them in the
but
past.
since then too.
Yeah, but that goes both ways too. So I don't know how those interactions have taken place. So, you know, this has been an ongoing problem. So it just has to stop.
There have been multiple attempts to counsel and to ask, Ms. Yelton to avoid contact.
I mean, it's awful difficult to avoid contact when you work together.
I know, when you say that, you're telling me
But
anything you like that.
we've talked, you have talked, and I've told you, and I've counseled you myself.
And
Do not do what you do.
I don't,
And yet she still does.
I have not been counseled on things that I have done here at work that upset people. And again, I take your coaching as a friend, but as a council member,
Well,
You
after
can't
you as a council
necessarily-
member, I told you that it's going to lead to your dismissal if you continue. When I said that, so,
when I
you know, you're
continue
shooting
to
yourself in the foot.
live a private life.
Yeah, okay. But your private life and your employment too, so. I'm just telling you how I feel.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, in the personal handbook, I mean, it states, the procedure or the, for removal. And I believe it states, 3 write-ups. House, we have other write-ups.
We do. So there have been write-ups in the past for aggressive language. There have been write-ups in the past for ticket dismissal. Excuse me. And, there have been write-ups. Well, then there's this one, so this would be a third. I want to say there was 3 prior to this. This would be the 4th. Finding like that, with the council. Yeah, but there's been 3 prior to this because it was discussed in the annual review, and then this would be the 4th.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I have, please go ahead, I'll say right.
I'm trying to figure out much as Mr. Fillinger would. This timeline here, because this document, note to file says 12 December. And it's signed on the 16th,
Yeah, that's when I wrote
but
it.
the things presented as evidence for this language you consider aggressive.
Yeah.
Are dated after that, so I'm confused of how you're doing this prior to getting a complaint. It's like you wrote it up and, as Alderman Fillinger said, wrote it up and then went and asked folks, give me your complaint.
It
So
may
just-
appear that
just
way,
trying to
sure.
understand the timeline here.
Sure. So it may appear that way, but prior, I was reached out to by the animal control officer. Explaining the situation. She really didn't want to get into it. But I did ask her to make a statement. She didn't really want to because she's the new kid on the block. But I thought it was appropriate to go and ask her to put it in writing. This was about 2 weeks ago when I talked to her. And then, I think this only proves the fact that that Miss Yelton is not cordial to those that are around her, not respectful of boundaries, and continues to go around and talk about her personnel matters with other people. So, yeah, I did get this dated 12/17, but this is a conversation that happened 2 weeks before or around.
May I hear what? I'm not done.
On or around the first week, on or around the first week of November, I came to the city to apply for animal control. The day I came to get the application, Catherine entered the vehicle and saw me at the front door. She then asked me in a bothered and annoyed tone what I needed. The tone was rude and made me feel like I was bothering her, which made me very uncomfortable, but I told her I needed an application for animal control. She then said I needed to come back at 1. The time was 12:55. I told her that I would wait in my car, so it was only 5 minutes. This almost discouraged me from applying for the position as I was not sure if I would want to work in this type of environment. The next time I was in the break room my first week and I was eating lunch with Ashley and Catherine Catherine came to join us. Catherine started talking about her and Priscilla's history and how they used to be best friends, started to complain about Priscilla and how they were no longer friends. I just told her, oh, okay, at this time, I did not want to get involved in any drama as it was my first week. I did not know at the time that there was a history of hostility, so I just blew it off. I was thinking to myself that I don't have time for this. I have too much to learn as my physician and animal control. We came back later to Ashley's office and I told Ashley that I did not have time for that drama. And Ashley told me that she just ignores it and if possible, I should do the same. But if it continues to report it to them. On another occasion, we were standing in the hallway talking about loose dogs and Priscilla was letting us know about a few dead dogs when Catherine walked in the hallway and just stood there in the corner in front of the door, leaning on the frame of the door. And Priscilla asked her if she needed anything as Priscilla was blocking the kitchen doorway and we were blocking the hallway. Catherine told her in a rude tone, no, I need to speak with. No, I need to speak with Ashley. Priscilla then walked away and told Ashley she would speak with her later. Catherine was then telling Ashley about some dog in heat, but she was calling the dog a bitch in heat. And the conversation had no real point to it. And didn't really involve the animal control or ask for resources. It was just like trying to have a conversation that seemed pointless. I took it as she saw Priscilla and wanted to stay there to get under Priscilla's skin. Later that day, Catherine came to the kitchen and announced very loudly that she was just getting coffee. He and Ashley were in the office and just looked towards the door kind of confused. Catherine then came down the hallway and was petting the kittens and out of the blue made a comment out loud, talking to no one, loud enough for anyone in their office to hear, say something like, I'm not a mean person or I'm not an ugly person. He and Ashley were confused and just awkwardly said, okay. This aggravated me because I'm trying to learn things that Ashley was trying to show me on a computer. And I find it pointless of her trying to lure us or anyone else into her drama. Felt like she wanted to get a rise out of us to draw us into a conversation. She then stated that she would have called her, but I felt like she wanted to get a rise out of us to draw us into a conversation. She then stated that she would have called her, but Priscilla blocked her on her phone. She started to walk away to leave the hallway, and then she came back to my office. I think something's missing.
But this is in reference to the.
She started to walk away to leave the hallway, and then she came back to my office. At the time, she told me, don't believe everything you hear from them. I'm not a bad person and don't listen to everyone what they say bad about me. That made me very uncomfortable. I didn't know what to say when she said that. This disturbed me while I was getting ready for the day. It made me feel like I was walking on eggshells, feeling like I didn't know what she was going to say next. I informed Ashley about it all because it was making me feel very uncomfortable. And Ashley stated that she would talk to the mayor and if needed, ask me to speak with him in private.
So you're saying she verbally brought this to you prior to and you asked her to write it up, and that's why the dates on the documents are off.
That's good.
Thank you.
And I could, a lot of that is explained.
I'd like to address council.
Yes, sir.
Now, I say this knowing I will probably make enemies. But I can't not say. Miss Smith told me to my face she was not going to be happy until Catherine was gone. And I cleaned up the language. The number two thing I have to say is I agree that on your private time, on your personal phone, get a private message. That's none of our business. If this was social media, this wouldn't be a public matter. And It's not the overreaction. There was a choice to make this public now. Was it the correct thing to do? No. Absolutely not. Was it unprofessional? It was a private matter on private phone. Didn't involve the city. Until this write-up occurred. Yeah. Knowing that neither of the two people involved are completely innocent in any of this matter. We're, you know, we're being called as wise as Solomon when, again, personal matters on personal phones and a private message should not involve city council at all. Okay. That's all I have to say.
She did file a grievance that she felt that Ms. Smith was stalking her. And that was outside of the business, outside of City Hall. And yet she brought a
And
grievance,
what action was taken about that?
Both were put on a probation for 45 days.
both of them.
The grievance I submitted, because I did not involve the city until the mayor told me that she had shared pictures of a
That's
person,
on her
I'm
own
sorry,
phone.
at a person at my phone or my house, and me at another person's house, and chose to share it with the mayor to involve the city. I never brought it up until he told me that the pictures that Mrs. Schmidt sent to him really didn't bother him. And that's when I took a step back and I said, she's bringing this to the city. I'm filing a grievance. The grievance was that she is sending pictures of my private life to my boss to instill in distrust. And that was my private life. That was the grievance, was against her. I was punished for filing a grievance.
Mr.
Yes.
So along the lines of what Mr. Bellinger was just saying, it does seem that the city has just been drawn into the middle of this falling out between these two individuals that used to be best friends. This is rather ridiculous that this becomes city business that we have to waste money on. But those things that happen in private life are private. If we start telling our city employees what they do when they're not on the clock, I think we're opening ourselves up to a lawsuit. What they do become, what they do on their personal time with their personal cell phone is not the city's business. And I'm not, I mean, this text message is definitely assaulting, insulting, probably not appropriate. But I'm not sure what about it is aggressive, which is what you titled this. And my other point is, you read this allegation, which you've included in this package from the new animal control employee, which definitely has some concerns, and that is definitely in the workplace and definitely making it an uncomfortable work environment. But that's not what you wrote her up for. That's not what you said you suspended her for. So they're not related based on the way you wrote this up. So that complaint there is definitely not personal life, definitely city business, but not what we're here to talk about today. If I may.
And before you start, I will say, while it's not to the specific matter, it does say discuss and all possible action on the appointment, employment duty, discipline, or dismissal. It doesn't say discuss or possible action on the note to file. So, in that case, I believe it's fair game. Yeah.
I just want to remind people, like you did, when you stated what Priscilla said to you, right?
Mm.
I can bring up the fact that, why was she disciplined for profanity towards Priscilla? So we have established that there is some, she's always at her for something, right? Everything that bothers her, she will voice up, and whether she gets in trouble or not, it doesn't matter.
If I may.
Now, because she does this outside of the city, business hours, it's okay. So we're gonna tolerate this because it does affect the city. It does affect every single employee. Every single employee has come to me, and yet I say nothing because I tell them to go to him. Why? Because I've said stuff before and they've taken it, oh, you just don't like her. No, because I brought up policy, because I asked her to follow policy. She didn't like it. She complained about me. She filed that I was appalling ethics, that I was coming against the mayor. This is ongoing. It's not this one instance. It's not this one instance, and you know it, Charles. And I'm
Yes,
sorry
I do.
because it's wrong.
I
And
do
she
know.
is the problem, and I state that she is the problem. Because she goes into everybody's department, and why does she make statements the way she does? What is the purpose? What purpose that serve?
Those
If
things-
not to
those-
disrupt the whole place.
Okay.
It's
I don't
wrong.
want-
It's wrong.
I'm not here to be subject to ridicule. These things that you're talking about right now, I've never heard of. No one has ever come to me and said that they don't appreciate me. I don't talk to most of the people. If I state facts, could you please call Priscilla because her son's dogs are loose because she has my number blocked? It's a fact. It's not.
Not a fact. As you can see from the text.
Well, it
message-
was before.
As you
I
can see from the text message,
You texted
that she
your
received it. So
It might, well, I mean, why?
maybe they don't answer you.
No, I've called before and I've gone straight to voicemail. So me texting her was my way to vent. It was never for her to receive it.
Why are you venting to her? That's the question.
Okay, so, well, because you
I'm
don't want
gonna
to.
go back to what the policy manual states, 3 write-ups. If I could see 3 write-ups specifically dealing with an action or something that happened during duty hours. Talking about, again, the one coming from the animal control. If there's a specific, it was a write-up done basically just pertaining to that action. The other stuff, the text messages really is not really, I agree with this, not anything for us to take action on if it's outside the workplace.
And if I may,
Um,
sorry.
but you should specifically, in order for us to act, the burden is on you, you put it on the agenda, I mean, you call it.
Yeah.
So it's on your burden on you to provide us the three write-ups.
Her file,
The 3 write-ups.
Brought out. me.
the review.
It's in the file. Which
The write-ups,
Which will answer the three.
The 3 write-ups deal specifically with
Well, there's a lot of things missing from
how
her
the
file
action
now.
can be taken. No action can be taken, especially for removal, unless you have fulfilled that obligation. And I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the specific write-ups.
Right, so to answer your question, there's been ticket dismissal, that's one. There's been the vulgar language where she confronted Priscilla, and I want to remember what the third one.
Why was she suspended?
What, when? We're talking about
2-day suspension?
for the text message.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I sent it
Yeah,
on.
oh, what, the
On Monday.
PD hallway was something else.
And wait,
Hold on now. What, PD hallway?
Yeah, that, you open the PD hallway door, the back one.
Oh, that's.
She was just,
Yeah, and I reviewed that.
may I ask for one more?
Well, I'm not gonna pull the public file, I'm just gonna look at the 3. that I have. Oh, okay, so it was when she left the city hall without letting anybody know. So she abandoned the work.
So it's
That
not-
was a write-up.
Yes,
And was that write-up, followed through with any disciplinary?
it was just a write-up into her file,
I mean, it necessarily has to be a
punishment.
punishment, just that it was.
No,
And where is this, what is this policy, this rule or whatever that, you keep stating Alderman Tremblay about the 3 write-ups?
It's
Can
in
you, can you
personnel manual.
emphasize that?
It's
the
in the
personnel
personnel manual.
The personnel manual?
Yes.
Okay.
And if I may say,
I think a write-up that's not actionable is not valid to bring up. If there was no action taken.
It's
based on
on
the
grounds
write-up,
for any removal.
So-
There would be grounds for removal. But then again, it's on the mayor, it's his decision, but he has to bring it to council. He can't remove anybody by himself. It's come to council, but that's the evidence or the proof that he needs. The burden is on him to provide that to us. Now, whether we had an opportunity to see it, beforehand, to actually prove that it exists.
Yeah, we have to review it.
Yes.
What was that?
The only thing we don't have access to is their health record, but we can review their personnel file.
That third one that you said, we did have a meeting about it, remember?
Yeah, for job abandonment, not a job abandonment, but she
Leaving
she
the
vacated the office.
Long.
So where do we stand then? What are we gonna do? Are we gonna bring this up again? Are we gonna make a motion on this or?
if I may say one thing.
Sure.
The write-up from the second animal control officer was done after I was suspended in an attempt to build a case against me that I wasn't even provided with to be able to defend any of it.
There was no write-up. It was a statement, but it was no write-up.
Well-
Okay, so whatever you're reading is,
You asked me.
okay, typed up.
Right.
Her typed up statement.
Correct.
You pulled employees
No.
to build a case against me.
I
You
did
did not pull anyone.
No.
You did not ask, go to
I
anyone.
have the
and ask them.
message from the animal control officer saying, hey, we need to talk. Cassandra needs to speak with you. That came up. I was at my house and Priscilla came to me and said, Michael, we have an issue. She's texting me stuff that's inappropriate. And I don't know what to do because we told you, do not contact her, whether it's, and I personally think
Sir, you can't tell me not to contact someone in my private life.
But why would you?
well, why would
It
you?
doesn't
If
matter.
they
Why
truly
does it
don't want you
matter?
It
to.
doesn't matter that you have a hostile relationship with her and you
if
keep
I may-
contacting her.
And does it matter that I have gone to him numerous
Everybody
times?
has
No,
gone
I'm
to
sorry,
him.
can I talk?
That's not
That
like
I
it
have
sounds.
gone to him numerous times and complained about her treatment towards me in front of others, and none of that gets brought to you. I have told him at least 3 times this week of issues that have affected me in the workplace. As an example, when someone talked about me entering the hallway. Okay, the fact is, I entered the hallway. As I walked in, everyone was in the hallway, including our investigator. He was blocking it. So when I walked in, I said, whoa, and then I stood back to allow the door to close. So then I'm waiting, just, they're having a conversation. I'm just standing there waiting, where Priscilla then said, wait. And she looked around the investigator and said, yes, ma'am. And I said, I'm just here to talk to Ashley about some, I just got off the phone with a complaint. I just came in here to talk to, I didn't know everyone was in the hallway having a conversation, but she stopped the entire conversation when I entered the room or the hallway, and then proceeded to decide not to continue her conversation. Everyone dispersed. I went down the hallway. I told Ashley of the complaint and where the dogs were, only for less than 10 minutes later, Mrs. Schmidt to come down the hallway with a tone of voice that said, Catherine, you have someone at your window and they've been there a while. At which point, both Cassandra and Ashley stopped talking and looked at me, and all I said was, okay, thanks. Later, I went to her and told her I wanted to address it as an adult and an employee, a coworker, and I told her, Priscilla, I really don't appreciate the way you talk to me in front of others. Velma was a witness, and all she said was looked up in the air and said, bring it up with Michael.
But if she said that outside of business hours, it would be okay.
Sure.
Okay, so
Absolutely, I would be
how
going to
many
him for
complaints
anything outside of
How many
business hours.
complaints from the employees do you have about Priscilla? Have you had any from animal control?
I had,
But I don't see why this is
Wait a
relevant to the
minute.
conversation.
No, wait a minute.
Because we don't need to
because
be
you're
talking about
forced out.
Priscilla
She's
in
not
front of
like that.
everybody.
She's saying that there's no hostility.
Absolutely, there's
Yet,
on both.
there's so many, if it was just Priscilla complaining all the time, I'd say you got a problem. But when you have the whole staff, your public works and your animal control saying the same things, when does it stop? Why does she have to go lay on the floor and play with kittens and down that hallway? Why?
Why not?
You have a job to do, ma'am. And there's a lot of times when that window is absent and citizens have come. We just had a citizen complain the other day that they had no one to talk to at that window. And where are you?
yes, sir.
Mayor, again, you brought this to the council, and there's several options to look at here. What was your intention? What is your intention? What do you think is an outcome from here? Do you want to adjust your duties? Do you want to reduce do you want to do a pay adjustment? Do you want to send her home for 2 weeks without? What is it that you're looking for? You want removal? What is it you're trying to? You need to convince us as to
Yeah.
what. There are some things that are going on that yes needs to be addressed, but some of these things could be done internally I think without this audience.
Yeah.
So I just, what exactly,
This audience is here because she.
I know, but
Right. So difficult question, right? Because obviously we're in the holidays, right? And the personal aspect really pulls at me, right? Because this is a person's livelihood and, right, so I'm explaining. Right? But then at the same time, I'm also being told by 2 witnesses, because I had my degrees hung up. And slight comment to them both is, the guy doesn't have an HR degree. So I think there's a lack of respect and boundaries there. And so
I never said too bad. But.
the fact is that something had to be said, right? You had to say something. So what I get at is that I don't feel like the relationship obviously is not going to be salvageable. I think I could work past it, right? I think I can, but I'm not here 8 hours a day. I'm not working with her, in other hallways. I think the best direction is that we need to figure out a way to move forward. And that may be, in my opinion, that is without result. And I'll take the heat on that because I know now that I've said that, if we decide to keep her on, now it's a problem that she's gonna have with me. And I gotta follow that sword, and I can live with it.
And may I ask, and even after this, if I stay on, I can look at it and I thought.
I mean, we haven't worked past
established-
other instances,
And
right?
I thought we have established that.
Right, what I'm saying is that, me saying that, I feel like it is going to harm our relationship and our ability.
Not on my part, no, certainly not. But if I may ask, have you asked any of the people that actually talked to me? Anything about my character?
That one confused.
Yes,
ma'am.
I have.
You have,
Yes.
that must be, oh,
And so my opinion is that it's not a good working relationship that we have here in East Elton amongst the entire.
May I see, Mayor, that's not the first time she talks to you about you.
And I'll be fair, because I hear a lot about everybody. Trust me, it always gets back to me. So no matter who says things about me, that gets that, so. these
And he
walls-
probably knows of the stories
These,
that I've told.
these
of
walls
other
are not as
people
tight lipped as you may think, so if you say something interesting, I
Yeah.
find out,
Yeah.
so. That being said, I understand.
I just don't go telling him what others say about him.
Are you talking?
No, I'm talking in general.
I agree. No. Good thing is that, I was picked on a lot when I was a kid, so I can. that's
Stop
good.
putting skin.
You chose to put the charge on its back.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a big charger. Not even with the charge.
Yeah.
That I would like to say one time. There are people who have things on both my personal phone and on my city phone. My phone has a tremendous blocking. So if you're calling me as an alderman, number two on them, you have five more choices. You can call the mayor or any of the other council. I just, again, this seems to be the straw that has broken a camel's back. But I don't see it as a straw or in the darker. That's all I have to say. I thought we should not be having this meeting as far as I'm concerned.
He's texting us something. It's not.
No call for any.
Alderman Trump keeps mentioning the free riders. Has the council seen this? They're not.
I've been involved in every time.
Well,
Yeah, except for.
Haven't seen.
There's been verbal weapons. I mean, under any other job duties, you have a verbal and written and, a verbal and a written, and the third one should be. But anywhere else, if you get a disciplinary action against profanity or workplace, you would have been.
Sure.
Anywhere.
And I did speak to TML and they did say, they recommended that we have terminated at the vulgar language. But
But
That's
Alderman
it.
Tremblay, you're saying the policy, regardless of all the other stuff,
Mayor
says
has-
3 write-up.
The mayor has right. Somebody in the free write-up portion is. Again, more, it's grounds for redoing the free write-ups, but mayor is, as city administrator, has the authority to remove any employee. All employees. Serve. So there is no option for, I think. You know, and even with Catherine, and I've spoken to her before, just like Mayor Pro Tem has and asked her, and Crystal, I've talked to both of them. And I can understand I don't know, the friction they have. I mean, they were friends at one point. You know, but just getting back, you don't think that do we have an option here to be first for you to write up at least expectations and have her sign that and let's do this, 45-day probation again. And if she doesn't meet your expectations in 45 days, then we come back to the table here. I just don't see, I don't see no evidence. The cell phone thing. Again, text messages, I gotta agree with that. I mean, there are instances people will not hire somebody if somebody applies for a job and they go see that they put all this junk on Facebook or what's the other one? Instagram, something, they just won't hire them, say, this guy does this, but no, we don't need this guy here. But if you had HR things, there's a lot to it. I mean,
let me ask you this, if this were a male, I would you have to a female. Text him on personal plan, Is that grounds for termination?
Personal employment.
No, I'd have to disagree, because then that's a different situation, and now becomes harassment. This is
But
harassment,
that's a civil matter.
this is harassment, and now it's affecting the
But
work
this isn't
environment.
the first instance, just because it's
Is-
a text, doesn't mean that it's the first instance. Harassment is ongoing.
We can't argue that point.
Both ways.
I think we are at the point where somebody has to make a
Somebody's
motion or a recommendation.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that will be placed on 45-day.
I would, they recommend not to do a 45-day probation, they would say probation until it is resolved. Because what's gonna happen is we're gonna get to 45 days and now all of the
Or
Any recommendation, the probation or anything else, given to a personal treatment plan. Because you say, okay, you'll deal with it. Isn't dealing with it. And I believe in our, we would, dealing particularly supposed to supply an treatment plan with needed. Seems like it makes the text on doing the, there is a duty to the city to provide this treatment. But that's not a motion. Until you actually be involved, so if we say on probation until you mess up again, but that's giving,
You violated probation before.
ma'am,
What do you do?
I haven't used full.
Come on, I'm letting you.
Okay, I'll keep you if I see it. So I would make a motion that they're placed on probation, that a personal improvement plan be developed by the mayor with a list of expectations. That the mayor also puts for the person for the.
May I ask you, are these expectations, including my private one?
Of course,
Well, that's why we're here. I just want to make sure because I've met expectations for the last, and who wants to talk about it?
So, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I understand that you've been recommending that we don't put an end date on that, but if that's going to be the case and that it remains until it's resolved, I think that personal improvement plan needs to include what a definition of resolved means, if that's the intent, to leave this in place until it's resolved.
You have to have a window.
We need one or the other, in my opinion, sir.
Yeah, I just feel like we're gonna put a date on it and we're gonna have good behavior, and then as soon as it's over.
Again, that's why I'm saying, sir, I would amend the recommendation of that personal improvement plan in addition to what Mr. Tremlett.
Well, I think it's long enough, so that maybe behavior against 180 days, 6 month probation period, with a personal improvement plan prepared by the mayor, along with his expectations as far as this is work related.
I think I provided that. So, either the third, so-
The last,
What about 30-day review for the?
And he can do that at any time.
It should be more often than 30 days to provide her feedback on how she's meeting her expectations.
Review of the plan,
without any other line.
review the plan.
So 30 days.
Yeah.
Do you want to wait 30 days or could it be every other week?
The problem is, I'm also difficult to give a something I have work to do.
It's rough when you got a real job
Yeah,
that actually expects you to work 40 hours a week.
because we did try weekly meetings and there was always something.
That's what I was saying by week.
I don't, you mentioned something about, there's no deadline. So it's last deadline, months ago, 45 days, so what policy have I violated?
So you're saying it happens again, but what policy have I violated since the last? Probation?
I'm just saying in general, right?
I don't know that. You're talking about a general.
Not really.
No.
All right, so,
Motion on the floor.
so hang on.
So, yeah,
Point
we
of
need
order,
to keep it
point of
relevant to the motion then.
All right, so point of order, so the motion by Alderman Tremblay and seconded by Alderman Rapino is to create a project improvement plan of 180 days personnel. Personnel improvement plan. With the list of expectations, to be provided to Port Clerk Captain Yeltsin for, 180 days. With periodic.
I have a.
Yes, sir.
I have a-
I think what we, for you,
Is this motion in response to the latest, write-up and Ms. Yelton, obviously about her presence,
Based on the evidence that the mayor has provided.
well,
Nothing else.
my thing is,
What was it?
I'm assuming this meeting was called because Ms. Yelton protested the write-up.
No, she's
No.
on.
No, you don't plan. I was presented with it and I scored it out. With, it, you know, I scored it out, but,
So you're accepting the write-up?
no, I'm not.
It's
Why
fine.
here?
So they
Why
don't
just
acknowledge the facts or what it is of the water that or what's in the water that they're not, so they're not.
Yeah, you know.
So from the time she was trying to get 15 days to respond with the request for review. Okay,
I thought.
then we just gonna put that to the side. We're dealing with, we're dealing with fire history that we're trying to deal with.
Really nice things, I like it on record. That Ms. Johnson told me that she knew something about a council member that maybe she should say that about him. And that would put, damper on our situation here because I feel that she's either holding somebody blackmail or hostage or, I mean, because this happens all the time. How many times, is it 3 strikes you're out or is it 10 times strikes, then maybe you're up? I mean, this happens a lot. And I told her, if you know something about a council member, then why haven't you said it? Why have you followed on to that?
For the same reason, other council members.
Point of order.
Point of order.
Yeah. I know
Sir, this
what-
has no relevance to the
That's
motion
right.
on the table
It
at this
doesn't.
time.
It doesn't, but I want to know that.
All right, so then the motion as it stands is that there's a personnel improvement plan with the list of expectations to our court clerk, Captain Yeltsin, with periodic reviews. The probation would be for 180 days. I have a motion by Alderman Tremblay, and a second by Alderman Lupino. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right, that motion passes. If I can get a motion to adjourn.
May I ask if?
Motion to adjourn, sir.
It is now
Motion to adjourn, sorry.
7:30. We are.
Recording.
Yeah.